Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ballet
Did you
Rage.
finish your tea already?
Yes.
So, with the school year coming to a close, I know a lot of ballet students out there are going to be preparing for your year-end performances and recitals and whatnot. So, Jordan and I thought it would be fitting to give you guys a video on theater etiquette and performance and backstage best practices.
Performing on stage is one of the greatest experiences that a dancer can have, and there's a lot of amazing memories that can be formed both on the stage and also backstage with your fellow dancers. Performances also have a lot of moving parts, so there are a few general guidelines set in place to help everyone work together smoothly and cooperate respectfully and make the performance experience a positive one for everyone.
If you're ready, drop a like and...
It's the other way.
Oh. If you're ready, drop a like and we'll go. Number 1 of performance etiquette is to not let the audience see you until you're actually on the stage. As dancers, to maintain sort of the magic of the performance.
Right.
We don't want to let the audience see us when we're entering the theater, exiting the theater, so like before or after the show.
Especially not in your costume or your makeup or even your warm-ups, really. Anything that will identify you as one of the dancers.
I don't know. I think I guess it's just the culture. We kind of want to keep the magic on the stage. You don't want to break the fourth wall too much. So as dancers, usually we'll go in through the stage door.
Right, which is in the back of the building.
Yeah. Early, really early. Usually for performances we'll have a warm-up on stage anyway, so you will be early.
Right.
But the key is get there before the audience gets there.
Yeah.
Go in through the stage door, and it's fine. You can be in your warm-ups, you can be in your makeup, and you don't have to worry about anyone seeing you. After the show, usually we'll also exit through the stage door. Some dancers will like to take their makeup off before they leave. I used to just keep it on, exit the building as quickly as possible.
You just put your hood over your head and just walk out like this. Hop into your car and drive away. For me and for a lot of dancers that I knew, we would take off some of our makeup so we don't look like crazy people walking out of the theater. So we would take off, if we had really, really dark eyeliner, we'd take that off. False eyelashes would always come off, and the lipstick. And maybe if you were doing dolls or something and you had the red circles painted on your cheeks, you would take that off as well. And then you just exit the stage door and you don't have to, run and not talk to anybody.
It could work both ways.
Yeah, let's say that. Of course, there are exceptions to this rule, obviously for public signings after the ballet, which is where the dancers, usually a couple of the main characters, will come out to the theater lobby to sign autographs and take photos with the audience members, which can be a really special experience. But in that case, yes, you're allowed to wear your full makeup, your full costume, everything. There's no issues with that at all, just for the experience. Going along with not letting the audience see you, this also applies to right there in the wings. Do not let the people see you before you actually get on the stage.
So when you're standing backstage, you always want to make sure that you are as close to the downstage curtain as you can. So when you're in the wings, usually there'll be a curtain on your downstage side and there'll be a curtain on your upstage side, which is the next wing. You always want to stay close to that downstage curtain, because if you go too far to the upstage curtain, there's like not as much covering you, and
for sure.
The audience can see you if you're too close to that upstage curtain.
Yeah.
So you want to stay down right next to that curtain. You also need to be far enough backstage that your tutu or your costume or whatnot does not come out of the curtain onto the stage.
Yeah. If you're able to make eye contact with someone or even see seats, you're definitely in clear view and you need to back up or get closer to the downstage curtain as quickly as possible. Also, what that does is it creates a better flow of traffic going on and off the stage. So if you stay really close to the downstage curtain, then people exiting the stage will have the
free clearance. The next point is more for dress rehearsals / stage rehearsals more than performances, but it's really important to know your stage directions. Because when we're doing dress rehearsals, we may have to make slight adjustments to the spacing or the staging of the dancers on the stage versus in the studio. So you may have your director or your teacher say, I want you to exit a little more downstage, or I might want you to exit a little more upstage. Or
the upstage wing, the downstage wing.
Right.
Stage right.
Exit stage left. So if you don't know your stage directions, don't worry, we are here to help. Let us break it down for you, okay? Close your eyes. Imagine yourself. You're standing on the stage. You are facing the audience, okay? You got it? Good. Now right hand, that's stage right. Left hand, that's stage left. Right in front of you, that's downstage. Right behind you, that is upstage. That's all you need to know.
Next up, we're talking about the 5-minute call. Everyone loves this. You hear the intercom go off in every single dressing room in the whole theater ever.
Dancers, this is your 5-minute call. Please make your way up to the stage. Thank you.
And that is the time not just to go up onto the stage and like take a bunch of selfies. The overture is about to start playing. The curtain is about to open. You need to make sure everything is in order. So the thing you should check for is all of your props. If you are responsible for any props, like if you are doing Cinderella and you need to have your feather duster on stage right, make sure your feather duster is on stage right.
Right.
And I think if it would be good etiquette to ask your director or like the stage crew where the props should be placed.
Yes.
And that's a big thing. Don't just like leave it on the floor in the middle of the wing where people are gonna be tripping over your stuff as they're entering and exiting. So make sure you know where it's supposed to go and put it there.
Also, if you have any quick changes, for
Oh my
instance,
gosh, yes.
if you're doing Clara and she has to change from her Christmas party dress to her nightgown
In a matter of
like
30 seconds.
I would say 30 is generous.
Yeah, 30
you
is
know?
generous.
You don't have time to run all the way down to the dressing room to get changed, so you will change right in the wing. But you need to make sure that all the elements of your costume are there. Also, the people that are going to help you with that quick change.
Etiquette-wise, you should coordinate with all the people you need to help you with that quick change
Yes.
before the show actually starts, so you're not scrambling to find people to unbutton you or help put your headpiece on or whatever. Of course, we're assuming your costume and hair and your shoes, everything pertaining to you and the show are properly in place. And if you're one of the starting dancers, or if you are one of the dancers in the act, it would be really good to make your way up to the stage promptly and be there ready to go for when the curtain does open. Of course, different theaters have different rules of when is too early to be up there in the wing getting ready for your entrance, but it's always better to be early rather than late.
Absolutely.
But sometimes it does get crowded, so if you are not needed until Act 3, then please stay down in the dressing room. Do not crowd the wings out because it can be really, really cumbersome for the dancers that are performing on the stage and they're making quick entrances and exits and having excess people there. It's a little bit much, so try and keep the backstage area clear.
5-minute call usually means if you're going to be dancing right away as soon as the curtain goes up, you should have all your warm-ups off. Do not wear your warm-ups on the stage. Always give yourself a once-over. Also, for courtesy and for respect and for solidarity with your fellow dancers, give your friends a once-over.
Right.
Give your partner a once-over. Just make sure costume-wise you're okay, makeup-wise you're okay, headpiece, warm-ups are off, you're all ready to go. It's really, really helpful. I've had a lot of people point out, hey, make sure you take your warm-ups off, make sure you take your leg warmers off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right.
If you have excess brains, lend them.
And now we're going into dressing room etiquette. This is a big part of performance etiquette because we will, as dancers, probably be spending a considerable amount of time in the dressing room. So one of the important things to remember for dressing room etiquette is obviously it is a dressing room. You must knock before entering. You don't want to just barge in there.
Right.
Yeah, knock. Wait for the, okay, come in. Also, when you're in the dressing room, I think there should be a big emphasis on preparation. I don't think the dressing room is too much of a space to fool around or do anything crazy.
It's not a party space,
No.
I don't think. It shouldn't be.
Obviously, you don't want to take it to like the extreme where everyone's silent and psyching themselves out, you know?
That's just weird.
That's just, yeah.
I think there's definitely a time where you can take your pre-performance selfies. There is a time for that, where you can turn on your music and kind of like hype yourselves up. But I think as it gets kind of closer and closer to the curtain opening, I think it's a good time to channel your excitement more into your focus. So that when you go on stage, you feel mentally prepared. That dressing room time is also good too. You know, maybe keep your muscles warm, stretch, do some little sautés or releves, all of that good stuff. So that when you go on stage, you don't feel like stiff and kind of glazy.
Getting into that headspace will make it feel like when you actually step onto stage, it's just natural. It flows into it really well. Whatever you do in the dressing room should flow into what you do on stage.
Seamlessly. The other thing with dressing room etiquette, respect other people's space.
Yeah.
Because in the dressing room oftentimes are quite small. It's important to keep your stuff organized. Try and contain your stuff. It'll make the whole dressing room experience a little bit easier for everyone.
It kind of goes unspoken, but I think during performances, I don't know, maybe this is my personal experience. During performances, it doesn't matter what differences you have. During a performance, you're all friends. As a dancer, I think we gotta really put differences aside, especially for a show.
For sure.
You know, you need that whole community support.
Yeah.
As a company or as a school, even just as a small group, you need to have that unity. You need to be like, you know what, regardless, we're in it together.
Yeah.
And I think that sense of camaraderie is what really gels a performance. Do your part to be kind to your fellow dancers and to be respectful of them and to spread the love, spread the support, spread the encouragement. If we all put an effort in to be kind to each other, I think the dressing room would be a lot more fun and it would be a much more healthy place.
Yeah. And then it also translates onto the stage as well.
It does. Final point for dressing room. While the show's going on, keep the noise in the dressing room at a very much minimum. Kind of like what you were saying about the closer you get to the show, the more the volume should go down.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, because it is possible for the audience to hear what's going on in the dressing room.
Oh, yeah.
Even though we're like underneath the ground there. If you're loud enough, the audience can in fact hear you. Also, sometimes they'll have speakers in the dressing room to play where they're at in the ballet. So if you're quiet enough, then you can hear what's going on stage.
If it's too rowdy in the dressing rooms, you could possibly risk missing your cue. And that would be bad. You don't want to do that. And you don't want to cause other people to miss their cue either.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
during the time when the show is actually running,
Keep it quiet. This next thing, I don't think it really falls under the category of a rule or a guideline or even a best practice. I think it's just a cool tidbit of dancer culture.
yeah.
We're gonna share it with you guys. So when you are encouraging someone or wishing them well before a show, you would not say break a leg.
That one's more native to like if you're doing actual theater, so like acting and stuff. And the superstition goes that if you tell someone to break a leg, then the spirits who are like always going to do the opposite of what you say will help you to not break a leg. But that is in the context of acting and theater and all that, not necessarily ballet.
But most of the time, you will tell a dancer good luck or have a good show. But also, between dancers, usually we'll tell each other merde. And will we get demonetized?
I hope not.
We need the YouTube ad revenue. Name of the game is don't get demonetized.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Bear with us here.
so merde is a French word that means, I'll put the emoji here. But in the context of ballet, it has a bit of a different meaning. Dancers started saying it back in the old days, like before cars, when people rode in horse-drawn carriages. So, if a lot of people came to watch you perform, then there would be a lot of horse carriages and thereby a lot of horse manure. So the dancer would say to each other, you know, merde, meaning there's a lot of people here to watch your show, everyone's excited, I'm excited, you know, you got this, you can do it.
Exactly.
It's sort of a well-wishing for your show.
And the correct response to that, if someone tells you merde, the correct response is supposedly not thank you. You're supposed to say oui, which means yes in French. If you say thank you, then you're canceling the good luck. But that's just a ballet superstition.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because every time someone said merde to me, I'll be like, thanks.
Yeah, most people do, and it's like totally acceptable. But if you wanted to be like superstitious and extremely pedantic, then you would respond with oui.
In dancer culture, it is socially acceptable to say, although I would not take it.
I wouldn't, no, do not take it with you when you leave the stage.
But, all right, was that sensitive enough?
I think we did good. I think we did pretty good. Moving on. Here's another one that's not as commonly thought about, but it is quite important, and that is to cover your feet when you are not on the stage. Especially when you go down to the dressing rooms, a lot of time they have this really sort of glossy floor, and a lot of times those glossy floors are glossy because they have a thin layer of wax over top of it. So imagine you're wearing your shoes on that glossy, waxy floor, and then you go up onto the stage and you track all of that wax, which is usually very slippery, onto the stage. And that is very dangerous. You'll have people slipping and sliding and ice skating all over the stage, and that is just horrible. So it's really important to keep your feet covered, whether you wear socks or they have those space boots.
Space boots!
Warm-up boots are really, really good for keeping your feet warm and also protecting your shoes from all that wax and any dirt and debris that you just don't need on the stage.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of shoes, ladies, if you are wearing point shoes for your performance, do not let your ribbons come out. I'm begging you.
Ever. It is like the greatest sin in ballet if your ribbons come out.
Pig's ears, as we call them.
Oink.
Usually, dancers will sew them down, just put
Yeah.
a stitch or two in to make sure they don't come out, or they'll tape them with like medical tape.
Some dancers use band-aids.
Some will hairspray. Basically, do what it takes to keep your ribbons from coming out, because
Yeah.
that is a big one.
Uh-huh.
A really, really big no-no when it
Yeah.
comes to performing. Now, costume etiquette-wise, there are a few protocols that we like to follow. One is hairpiece. If you ever have a question about your hairpiece, chances are, most
Yeah.
generally, if your hairpiece is supposed to be on one side of your head, it will be on the left side.
Most generally.
Mine is today.
Of course, always check with stage management, your costume mistress,
Yes.
your costume team, to make sure that your headpiece is on the correct side.
If you're wearing a wrap skirt, the left side crosses over the right side.
I think it's a general rule with ballet, left always goes over right.
Yeah.
Or most commonly goes over right. Even when you're doing crossings, the person on stage left will always cross in front of stage right. If you're wearing your costume, do your best not to touch it with your hands. If you're wearing a tutu or like a really fine garment, do not touch it with your hands, because all the oils or whatever you might be wearing, lotion or something, it can get on the tutu and it can discolor it or stain it over time. So it's really important to keep your hands off your tutu, especially if it's a white one. Ladies, at all possible chances, take your hands off your tutu.
Yes.
The last point of the day that we're going to share with you guys is
Reverence etiquette. So reverence is referring to at the end of your piece, the end of your performance, essentially your bows at the end.
the bows are a huge part of the show. It's the part of the show where you thank the audience for coming to watch you, and you thank your fellow dancers for dancing with you. Especially if you were doing any partnering, it's a good time to thank your partner as well, because you two work really hard together, not just for the show, but like the whole rehearsal period. It's a lot. So it all comes together in reverence. The final bows at the end of the show. A lot of times the main female dancer will be given flowers at the end of the performance on the stage in front of everybody. If you are given flowers at the end of a show and you have a partner who danced with you, then it is common courtesy to pull one rose from your bouquet and give it to your partner as a sign of thanks and gratitude and honor.
I would check with your director,
Of course.
because your director will probably set you bows, and then you just do whatever they say.
Right.
But just general, that is the common practice for reverence. You would always give one flower to your partner.
Yeah.
Just to thank them for putting up with you for the whole rehearsal process.
There was one dancer, I'm not sure if it was Margot Fontaine, someone correct me in the comments. I know somebody out there will know. One famously known dancer from back in the old days, when they were doing the reverence and she was given the bouquet of roses, she pulled one out and everyone was expecting her to give it to her partner.
Right.
But instead she kept the one for herself and she gave the whole rest of the bouquet to him.
And
That was really sweet.
Wow.
But you probably should not.
Just check with your director.
Yeah, if you're a student, check with your director. If you're a principal and you're a prima ballerina, I mean, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, who am I to judge?
Yeah. If you are playing the female ballet protagonist of the ballet, then it is traditional that if you have a live orchestra, that you will exit stage right, traditionally, and you will escort the conductor out onto the stage to take a bow in front of the audience as well. And that's really important because the ballet experience is not just about the dancers, it's also about the music and the conductor and the orchestra. All the musicians have a huge part to play in the performance as a whole. You'll usually have the orchestra stand and everyone takes the bow for the audience as well.
So those were some of our ballet performance etiquette guidelines. Obviously, these are rough guidelines because every company does it differently, every school does it differently. So if you are new to performing, or if you're new to this sort of theater, ballet, stage life, and maybe you didn't do some of the things we mentioned, or you did do some of the things we mentioned, that is totally okay. Ballet is a whole culture, you know?
Yeah. It's like as if you moved to like a totally new country,
Right.
different language, and you have to learn the culture all over again. It's like that.
Yeah.
But I think the general overall goal is respect and courtesy towards towards everybody and trying to help everything run as smooth as possible and make the experience, not just for the audience, but also for the dancers and all of the crew backstage, have a really good experience and enjoy the show together.
Make sure to hit the like button for all the dancers that might be performing in the next couple weeks. If you are performing, drop a comment. Let us know what you are going to be performing in. If you're doing any rep, new pieces. We'd love to hear what you guys are working on, what you guys are going to be performing.
And cheer you on.
Yeah! Make sure to like and subscribe. We also wanted to say a big thank you to our viewer Newbie, who surprised us a lot with our very first super thanks.
And also to everyone else who's been so kind on this channel, leaving us such sweet comments and encouraging us on this crazy YouTube journey. We're just so grateful for all of you for watching our videos and for having fun nerding out about ballet with us. We love making videos for you guys, so we hope you continue to enjoy.
I think that's all from us for now, and this is Ballet Rain signing off. Until the next video.
Bye!